host. I'm Drew Shannon.
Portions of the following program have been pre-recorded. Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem-Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmett.
Hey, good afternoon. We're here. We're live and local. I'm happy that you're with us today, this Wednesday edition of The Ride Home. Kath, good to see you as well. All is good?
Thank you. Happy to be here today, John. I have to be honest with you. I was very excited to come to work today.
Why is that?
It's so hot in my house. Not that I wasn't thrilled to see you, because I for sure am. But as I was, trying to I was like, it's time for me to get out of this house. Yeah. It is really, really hot in there.
I understand it.
And news coming up on today's show in the 5 o'clock hour that air conditioning in peril in different states across the 48 contiguous.
Why is that? Why is it in peril?
Supply chain issues.
Oh, come on. Really? See, we're way ahead of the curve there.
Exactly. So we should feel good about ourselves,
we
right?
don't have the supply chain issues, yeah. No, to be honest, it's not really been a hot summer. Right? It doesn't feel like it's over. Honest, despite today, your uncomfortability, look, how long has air conditioning been like a thing? Well,
I went to college in the middle of the 80s. Well, I went to college in 87. And I'd never had air conditioning growing up. And when I was in college, my parents got it.
Whole house.
Yes, so that's the only frame of reference I have.
Yeah.
I think only one of my friends from high school had AC. I
don't remember any of my friends from high school having.
I'm pretty sure only one family did.
I mean, it became a thing, I'm sure, like I was reading a book about the Kaufman family. And Kaufman's, the department store, started to air condition their stores in the 40s. Now, that was on an industrial level. Right? But for like the home, right, local people in their own comforts, maybe I want to say,
and I would say in my area of the North Hills, not until about the 90s.
Really? 90s? What? Really interesting.
I think so.
Huh. Well,
and now we're the outliers.
2020. Man. Yeah, we are the tiny percentage. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Wilting, nonetheless.
I feel absolutely fine being here. Hey, a terrific show coming up today. I'll give you a little peek into it. Okay. We're going to talk about how pastors can equip their congregations to do what? Use social media.
See, that's not good.
You don't think? You think pastors should be telling people not to use social media?
No, I don't know. Just the whole social media, everything's social media. I have found myself pulling back from it.
Right.
Haven't you?
A little.
You dip your toe into it, right?
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
And now, so what? We're going to talk about that from the...
Yep. What pastors can do. That's coming up at 4:10 with Chris Martin. All also, a big event in the city coming up on Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Pittsburgh Praise at Heinz Field. Not at like one of the side rooms at Heinz Field, but like at the field.
Yeah, 50-yard line.
At the field. People from all over the Pittsburgh area getting together to pray. John and I will be there. We're going to be talking to Matt Geppert a little later this hour about what that is going to be like. Also, in the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to talk about an incredible story of a man who secretly furnished a hidden room in the mall.
Yeah. Now, it would be much easier to have a finished hidden room in the mall, wouldn't it? When's the last time you went to the mall? I can't tell you the last time I stepped into the mall.
I was in the mall maybe a month ago.
Now, see, on a hot day like today...
It would be a great place to go.
Of course, you go to the mall.
Right.
You get an orange Julius.
I don't think they have those anymore.
Those are gone.
They were delicious, though.
They were very delicious, yeah.
All right.
So, even as we talk, the world continues to revolve. The news stories of the day. Kath, please, without further ado, give us the top 4 at 4.
Well, thanks for asking.
Asking? No, I wasn't asking. I was telling you.
Wednesday, July 6th, 2022. Number 1. As a result of the worst shock to education and learning in recorded history, also known as COVID, learning poverty has increased by a third in low and middle income countries. This is so...
I've never heard this phrase before.
With an estimated 70% of 10-year-olds unable to understand a simple written text.
What? Come
Yes.
on.
Yep.
Wait.
That news was published today by the World Bank, UNESCO, UNICEF, and the UK government Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, plus the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Wait, 10-year-olds worldwide, you're saying?
70% of 10-year-olds unable to understand a simple written text. Now, this rate was already low before the pandemic at 57%, but it went all the way up to 70%. This generation of students, according to these foundations, now risk losing $21 trillion in potential lifetime earnings in present value,
What?
or, and perhaps this is a better way to understand it, the equivalent of 17%, still incredibly high of today's global GDP. The report shows that prolonged school closures and unequal mitigation strategies have worsened learning inequality among children, and evidence is mounting that, of course, this is no surprise to us, that kids from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and other disadvantaged groups suffering larger learning losses. 70% of 10-year-olds can't understand a simple written sentence. We're going to be digging out of COVID for 300 years. Number 2. The euro, John, fell to its lowest level in 2 decades today as fears of a recession in the eurozone ramped up, with gas prices soaring and the Ukraine war, of course, showing no signs of abating. Record high inflation in Europe joined by skyrocketing gas prices, and the euro has been hard hit. The currency of the eurozone has lost over 9% of its value against the dollar since the start of the year. So it'd be a good time to visit.
Thank goodness we got the dollar.
Exactly. Maybe we could take a trip. Do you think we could broadcast from Europe?
Sure we could. Yeah. Didn't you try to broadcast once from Europe?
We did when I was in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it. We did a daily thing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it worked fine. Number 3.
So quickly.
Speaking of Germany, they have a long submerged problem. It's attempting and really complicating Germany's efforts to wean itself off of the pipelines pumping gas from Russia. They've got, John, over 1 million tons of weapons and explosives that are rusting at the bottom of the sea. They're trying to build natural gas terminals to try to wean themselves off of, everything that they used to get from Russia. But specialists have to find and remove all the World War II unexploded wartime ordnance. And there's an estimated 1.6 million tons of weapons and explosives just in the North Sea and Baltic Sea.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the numbers. I just can't
crazy.
believe. Most of that was put there after the war, when Allied commanders ordered the destruction of Germany's stockpiles of weapons, and that's how they did it. They just
Really? They
dumped
just
it all
dumped
in
it in
there.
there.
But now
But there
they're
it
trying
sits.
to widen and make shipping lanes, right, so that they can get ships in and out. But they have to take the old munitions out, because if a ship veered off course and dropped an anchor,
Boom.
and accidentally detonated the munitions, not only could that munition explode and the ship explode, but it could cause a chain reaction
Can you imagine?
all across the North and Baltic
Feel like a
Seas.
scene in a disaster film.
And number 4, you know how much I love a weird animal story. Partly because New York City waters aren't as foul as they once were. You know what's showing up there?
Tell me.
Dolphins.
What?
And that is your top 4 at 4.
Wait.
All right, you want some
Dolphins are
details?
in the rivers outside of New York City.
New Yorkers coming out in droves to see dolphins in the East River,
Really?
which separates Brooklyn from Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
Scientists believe that they are arriving in warmer months to pursue Atlantic menhaden, which is their favorite food. They're really into it. The menhaden are congregating in the area thanks to robust conservation efforts, because the waters surrounding the city are cleaner than they've ever been since the Civil War.
Fabulous. I guess it's a double-edged sword. So there's no industry like, right?
Right.
Brooklyn,
Yep.
Jersey, all the rivers are
Right.
kind of like what's happened here in a way.
Yeah, it
to
is a
some
lot
degree.
like that,
Yeah.
right? A lifeguard at Coney Island, and this is a story from today's Wall Street Journal, grew up in Rockaway Beach and said she used to see the occasional seahorse or starfish, but never a dolphin until 2 years ago. She said, at first I thought it was a shark, but then the dolphin left in the air, and she said, I was so shocked
so beautiful.
and so pleased. All of us in New York are so thrilled to see them.
Fabulous. Have you been close to dolphins
Right
yourself?
in California, yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
It's wonderful.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it's so thrilling, and I love the idea of imagining people in like the concreteness of New York
To get out
being
there.
able to look at the river and see dolphins out there.
Sit on the promenade and watch.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, they're so gorgeous. They're magical in some ways. They're so beautiful.
We could take a trip to New York.
Swift. I'd love to go to New York City. New York is here in Pittsburgh, as a matter of fact, right now.
We'll talk about you being at the Yankee game.
Yeah.
Also in today's show, and the Pirates trying to make it 2 for 2 against the Yankees tonight.
Okay, the aforementioned 5 ways pastors can equip their congregations.
Are you going to poo-poo it when we're having the conversation?
Not at all.
Okay.
To use social media. That's next. Social media into your church.
101.5 WORD.
Plan now to join Word FM Tuesday, August 16th aboard the Gateway Clippers Empress for another fabulous dinner cruise. From 6:30 to 9, relax in the company of fellow believers as you enjoy a fantastic dinner buffet, music, and stunning views of the city skyline. The Ride Home's John and Kathy will be your cruise directors for this amazing night, sponsored by Trinity Jewelers. Don't miss the boat. Last year's event completely sold out. Reserve now at wordfm.com/dinnercruise.
The word around town is that Pittsburgh homeowners are choosing doing it right when it comes to their roofing, siding, and remodeling projects.
That's because since 1984, Doing It Right roofing, siding, remodeling continues to set the bar through clear communication and an installation that's second to none.
Doing It Right employs only the most experienced professionals to install and oversee your project.
They'll stop at nothing to ensure your satisfaction, doing business honestly, taking no money down and no payment until the job is complete.
Doing It Right will ensure all work is installed to the industry's highest standards, then back it all up with their lifetime workmanship warranty.
As a prestigious multi-award-winning Owens Corning Platinum contractor, as well as a VSI certified installation contractor, you can't go wrong with Doing It Right.
Mention John and Kathy for a discount off your estimate.
Call 724-NEW-ROOF for a free project evaluation or visit roofingcontractorpittsburgh.com.
Want it done right, call Doing It Right.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. Now, Mike didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Now, Mike has done it again by introducing his My Slippers. For a limited time, you'll save $90 on a pair of My Slippers. And now this blowout sale of the year will not last, so order now. Mike has taken over 2 years to develop these slippers. My Slippers are designed to wear indoors and out all day long, so they're super comfy. Made with MyPillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue for your feet. Made also with quality leather suede. These are MyPillow slippers at their best. Call 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD or go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener square. Use promo code WORD. Now, the offer is not going to last long, so order now with promo code WORD at MyPillow.com. 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
If you can fix the big stuff, you can fix the small stuff. The Mechanical Services Company has fixed HVAC systems large and small for over 100 years. For fair treatment, expert service, and affordable solutions 24/7, 365. Find them online at tmschvac.com.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
Chris Martin is back with us. He is a acquisitions editor at Moody Publishing and a social media marketing communications consultant as well. His book is called Terms of Service, The Real Cost of Social Media. So when Chris joins us, we generally, of course, talk about social media, and he's here today to talk to us about social media and the church. Hey, Chris, welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
Real good. No complaints at all. How you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent.
I'm good. I can't complain. I heard you guys talking about heat earlier. We down here in Middle Tennessee are on track to break our record of most 90 plus degree days in 1 year. Our record was in 2019 of 99.
Oh my gosh.
And that year on this day, I think we were at like 30. No. We were at 27. And as of today, we're at 33 at the same time. So we are, it's a heat index of like over 110 down here today. But thankfully my AC works and stuff, so we're doing all right.
I'm
What
going to
the
stop whining. Seriously, Alabama, Arizona, and North Carolina, all states that are having, like, people who use AC are in perilous situations because AC systems are breaking down.
No kidding.
They can't get the right parts. You know, it's a long delay to get the parts from where you thought they were going to come from, and then you could try to have to, come up with a relationship to get them from another place, and it just sounds like a big issue.
So, Chris, what's that like for you? I mean, you're not willing to venture outside often, are you?
Yes, it's kind of weird. So like we've been on vacation like last week. Apparently it was beautiful here last week. We were down in Florida, but we usually, our family usually goes for like a 2.5-3 mile walk every evening, kind of like when I get off work.
Yeah.
My wife and I and our 2-year-old daughter, we live right next to a huge park. And so we'll go walk at the park and walk around the neighborhood. But like today, we're just foregoing that, and just trying to like limit time outside. I'm going to youth group tonight to hang out with our students, and we'll probably just play like an inside game. Like there's like a heat, like an extreme heat warning. Like I think that's the step beyond heat advisory or whatever. And generally people are advising just to not spend any time outside if you can manage it. So we're what's crazy is though, because down here, I'm assuming the same as with you guys, you got this summer pop-up showers that occasionally happen. Yeah. So we actually like a half an hour ago just got dumped on with rain. So right now it's kind of cool, but as soon as that sun starts beating down,
it's
just
the
going to
worst.
be like an oven out
right?
there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just going to be worse. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sizzle. Well,
Yeah.
Okay. So you heard, Kath and I, we do not have air conditioning. We are one of the small percentage of people, I'm sure, in this city. It's just how it works.
We live in old houses,
Yeah.
Chris, and it was going to be expensive to do it, and so we never did.
I've got radiator heat,
Right.
not forced air,
Exactly.
so I'm not doing that.
Exactly. So people think we're crazy, and we are.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I guess
Right.
so. I mean, most people would
Totally.
just bite the bullet, except we haven't.
Makes you come to work earlier.
I was thinking about doing it earlier this year, Chris. Seriously. I was thinking about doing it earlier this year, and I thought, John would be so disappointed.
I'd be the only one. Only one I know. Yeah.
Anyway,
awesome.
all right, Chris. So your specialty is social media, and I was surprised to see a headline saying that maybe pastors should be counseled, trained, urged to talk about social media with their congregants.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of, so I write on social media pretty regularly in my newsletter twice a week. And then I wrote a book about social media called Terms of Service, and I'm working on a second one. And the second one I'm working on is specifically for church leader, really anybody who's, leading others spiritually, whether you're a senior pastor or you're a small group leader, or perhaps you volunteer in the children's ministry, really anybody who's leading other people in the church or in Christianity broadly in life. I'm writing a book on how do you lead people when the people you're trying to lead are being influenced by social media more than they're being influenced by you.
Yep.
And that's just the plain reality. The latest statistics from some social media research organizations tell us that people spend an average of 2 to 2.5 hours a day on social media. And the average super active church member and congregant is going to be in church for that much every week. That's the super active church member and congregant, not like the average one. The average church member is going to be at church maybe once a week for an hour-long service. The super active one's going to be there for Sunday and maybe even Wednesday, or be there for 2 hours on Sunday morning for Sunday school. But people are spending that much time on social media every single day.
Yeah.
And so while a lot of pastors or church leaders, even parents, may not like to hear that social media is discipling people more than the church is discipling people, but it's the reality. And I think the longer we ignore that reality out of fear of pride, it hurting our pride or hurting our hearts or our minds, the more peril we put people in that we're leading, whether it's you guys. I mean, you guys are in leadership, leading, being on this radio program, or pastors leading in churches. And I think anybody who kind of sees themselves as having a bit of responsibility of guiding and shepherding other people in a formal capacity or informal capacity, I think they should be interested and concerned about how social media works and how it's discipling us in ways we maybe don't realize.
So you used the verb there that I think is important. We don't acknowledge the fact that social media is discipling us, but that is exactly what is happening. And it doesn't matter what your level of involvement is on a Sunday morning or whenever you worship, if it's a Saturday night or Sunday night, whatever it is. Doesn't matter how many, Tim Keller sermons you listen to or whatever. If you're just looking at time spent, our minds are molded by Twitter, in my case, but other people, it might be Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, a lot more than they're being molded by those other forces. And I guess acting like it's not happening probably is a stupid strategy.
Yeah, and it's a really common one because it's really easy, as I've learned. Pastors and church leaders, lay leaders are some of the most. I think they're one of the highest percentage of people who read my stuff. They're the people who email me and say, "Hey, how do I handle this?" Or, "Hey, I got this church member who's saying this. What do I do about it?" And when I hear from them, what I often hear is, I just feel so ill-equipped. I thought social media was a fad that was going to go away, or I thought it was a teenager issue, like a young person issue. And I just haven't I clearly don't think I've apparently messed up not giving it the attention that I should have, because my people are clearly being shaped by social media and I don't know what to do about it. I don't, maybe this pastor or this church leader doesn't even use it much themselves. And they vaguely know what some of the platforms are, like they recognize the names like Facebook or Twitter, but they don't know that algorithms are at play. They don't know how recommendations work and how retweets can really send people down some spiral. They just don't understand a lot of the functions and how social media is sort of reverse engineering our brains. And so what I hope to do and what I think pastors should try to do is study social media, whether or not they choose to use it, so that they can better understand how this massive cultural force is shaping the people that they are also trying to shape. Because I think pastors are kind of, to put it in a bit of a sensationalistic way without trying to be like that, I think pastors are sort of fighting against this force without recognizing that they're actually doing it. And then when they do recognize that they're having to vie for attention and vie for influence with social media, they recognize that they're woefully unprepared to even fight that battle. And so what I try to do through my writing and what I advocate for in this recent article that I wrote is just trying to help pastors and other church leaders and people of influence in Christian spaces figure out how to influence their people when it feels like they simply can't hold a candle to what social media does. And I think one of the most important things is for these church leaders to model a healthier relationship with social media themselves. I mean, that sort of principle is true for so many aspects, but it's really hard for someone who has is in a leadership capacity or has some responsibility in the Christian space to advocate for wisdom regarding a relationship with social media when, they're ranting on Facebook all the time or retweeting suspect, figures on Twitter or whatever else. And so I think it's really important for pastors and church leaders to model a healthier relationship with social media if they have any hope of actually instilling that in the people that they lead.
And Chris, I can imagine a lot of pastors. I mean, the large majority of pastors are shepherding small churches, right? I mean, of course, the larger pastors, they have, social media teams and whatnot. But, don't you think most pastors would sort of push back and go, look, my hands are so full anyway with my congregation and hospital visits and, deacon meetings and elder meetings and whatnot. The last thing I want to do is to be on social media.
Yeah, totally. And I think what I would advocate for is I try not to advocate for pastors being content creators, like trying to keep up with being a YouTuber.
We've talked about that in the past. Account. That's like a recipe for disaster, right?
Yeah. That's definitely not the answer. I think a pastor and church leader, community group leader, whomever, can instill a healthy relationship with social media in the lives of their congregants without barely using social media themselves. I think think about it. If you have a church member who's got an alcohol problem, like they're an alcoholic, they're fighting that sort of alcohol addiction and it's clearly ruining their lives. You don't have to go be an alcoholic to learn how to minister to that person. You can help them despite the fact that you've never really been in that position. I think the same applies if a pastor recognizes, and plenty of pastors do because I hear from them quite frequently, that, man, I've got church members who are being led astray by all kinds of random stuff, like theories on social media, whether it's related to faith or politics or whatever else. I've got people who, man, they never used to be very conflict oriented and hard headed, but I see them arguing with people on Facebook all the time. And now they're showing up at church wanting to start a fight with pastors. Like, I don't get it. And so they're starting to, I've learned that pastors are starting to recognize a lot of sort of online conduct that we maybe used to think, oh, that just happens online. That doesn't really spill over into the offline space. A lot of pastors are starting to recognize church members being more contentious or maybe questioning the authority of the local church when they had never done that before. And so
that's the discipleship thing you're talking about.
Exactly. And I think if pastors are to have any hope of kind of keeping a hold on their churches, they don't have to go start a TikTok account or become super active on Facebook, but they do probably have to grasp how social media is shaping their people. I just think that's responsible leadership.
Yeah. So in some ways that helps to have sort of the nature of accountability inside the church and, of course, outside as well.
Yeah, totally. Pastors can't do this alone. And I've often advocated for pastors working with one another, just talking like what's worked for your church, what's worked for your small group or your volunteers. And yeah, I don't want pastors to get this idea that they got to drop doing hospital visits or not do quite as much counseling so they can be an active YouTuber or something like that. But I do think reading some books about social media, following some good people online who write about these things, that can all go a long way toward helping pastors understand this stuff and really see the outsized impact it's having on their congregations.
Yeah. Now, I would imagine, with the rise of COVID and then we all Zoomed for a couple of years, or, some churches, of course, are still Zooming the services. There's got to be this sort of rise of the new internet pastor, right? Who's savvy, socially conscious of what's, the right paths to follow. We're going to see this, maybe not, in the next 5 years, but clearly 10 years or 20 years, there'll be whole mega churches, I would think, that are just online only with, social teams and very savvy social media pastors.
Yeah, and that's a whole other can of worms that I have a lot of feelings about that we could spend multiple shows talking about. But yeah, there's a whole aspect to this that is like what elements of church can be translated to the internet and what elements of church really can't be, and how does that affect how we understand the local church and how it gathers. But yeah, that's a huge conversation that we're definitely going to have to be working through as we move into the future.
But I don't want to see my pastor on TikTok. Right?
No, but
I don't think any of us really do.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, John doesn't want to see anybody on TikTok.
No.
Okay, so I was going to ask you another question, but time's already up. Chris, it goes too fast. Appreciate you being with us. Hey,
always insightful.
If you're interested in finding out how to use social media well and how it is that social media is forming you, check out the book Terms of Service, The Real Cost of Social Media. Also, check out Chris Martin's Substack. He writes regularly at Terms of Service there. You can find him there. And Chris, we're thankful that you're with us every month. It was good to see you today.
Interesting stuff. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, great to talk to you guys. Yeah,
Stay
keep
cool.
Do
That
you
went
remember
fast.
what was kept in a spring house? If you're an old timer, you know that a spring house was used for storing fresh, cold milk. In 84, Pennsylvania, we have another kind of spring house. Our spring house is an old-fashioned country store filled with all kinds of old-time gifts, great country foods, and you guessed it, fresh, cold milk. You see, the spring house in 84 is also a dairy farm where we milk our own cows, pasteurize and homogenize the milk, and sell it all through the store. We've had people tell us it has to be some special kind of gourmet milk. We don't add anything to the cow's diet or to the milk. It's just nature's purest, most perfect food, and we love the way our customers love it. We also make a chocolate milk you would think is a chocolate shake, an old-fashioned buttermilk that people drive miles to get, and a 40% heavy cream that's wonderful for luscious desserts. Our 2% and our skim are the greatest sellers. Come and try some Springhouse milk at the Springhouse in 84.
Windows are us. You've tried the rest, now try the best.
When it's time to replace your roof, siding, gutters, and downspouts, entry doors, and of course windows, you can count on Windows R Us, the area's premier exterior replacement company. This is John Steigerwald. With over 50 years experience in the home remodeling industry, Windows R Us offers repair and replacement for all your exterior home projects. Why pay double with some other companies? Windows R Us will always give you the best price on the best in-class products, backed by the best warranties in the industry, all with zero sales pressure. And speaking of zero, right now get zero interest financing for 12 months and no processing fee with prices set to increase on all exterior products. Lock in your quote today. Schedule a free estimate and inspection today at WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com. You've tried the rest, now try the best. WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
Windows are us. You've tried the rest, now try the best.
Studies show decades of increased taxpayer spending per student has failed to improve educational performance. Can't we do better? Pittsburgh's Christian schools say we can. Right now, local Christian schools are offering half-price tuitions for first-time enrollees, like Cornerstone Prep in West Mifflin. If you're looking for a safe environment for kids to learn, where character matters and academic excellence is served by highly qualified teachers, consider Christian education. Visit wordfm.com/tuitions.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries starting at just $79.99. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
101.5 WORD FM Pittsburgh. On your smart speaker by saying, play the word Pittsburgh. And on your phone via the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
Cloudy and humid for tonight. We'll see a nighttime low of 67. For tomorrow, expect more clouds than sunshine. It will be humid with a thunderstorm in a couple of spots. We'll reach a high tomorrow of 86. Cloudy and humid tomorrow night with a thunderstorm. We'll see a low of 66. As we round out the week Friday, we'll see cloudy skies. It will be humid. Expect a high of 77. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
The story I saw in today's paper. A father was swimming in a swimming pool in Mountain Brook, Alabama. Two sons, both twins, age 10, and a neighborhood friend were also swimming, 10-year-old. So there's three little kids and the dad. And the dad, what's his name? Brad Hassing. He does these sort of underwater breathing exercises. He says, he dives down below in the deep water and he hangs out and holds his breath. And he says he just loves doing it. It relaxes him. There's something about, the weight of the water and the solitude that he loves. Mm-hmm. So he's underwater.
By the way, it sounds like a nightmare to me, but go on.
He's underwater, but his kids are, are playing up top. And one of the kids says, hey, there's something wrong with Daddy. And they swam underwater, one of the twins did, and they saw that their dad's face was turning blue.
What?
So the two 11-year-olds and the neighborhood friend, they dragged this dad, who weighs 185 pounds, up out of the water and placed him on the pool steps. One of the twins ran out on the street to go get help, but the other twin dragged his dad up a little further and started to perform CPR. Now,
how did he know CPR?
The weird thing is, he didn't know CPR, but they had just watched the movie The Sandlot, where apparently there's a scene in the movie of someone receiving CPR. So they this little 11-year-old started to do it. And weirdly enough, it worked. And meanwhile, the other twins out on the street stopped the guy in his car. He called the ambulance. And before you know it, the dad says, the CPR was successful. He kind of expelled water, blood, and foam from his mouth. He comes to, and there's ambulance crews, neighbors. He said it was like, the scene from It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody's there in front of him. They took him to the hospital. He spent a night in the hospital just under observation and whatnot. Turned out he's 100% okay. Few days went by. He said to his sons, look, this was really dangerous. I'll not do that again. I'll stop doing the breathing thing. But I want you to know that I'm not afraid, and I'm going to go back in the water. And he dove into the water and hung out in the pool for a while, and everything's okay. How crazy is that?
So I'm sure people who are CPR trainers are driving off the road in terror, thinking that people are going to try CPR without having been trained to do it.
I'll do the Sandlot method,
no,
which is a good movie.
You could, better than doing the Office method, if you remember.
Yeah, you don't know. I do.
I took a class in college. I haven't done anything with it since. Probably if I were to perform CPR on somebody, I feel like I'd hurt them. You
wouldn't hurt them. You might save their life.
You could hurt them.
Really?
Sure. Well, I think you could.
I don't see. Look, I don't.
We're like the blind leading the blind
we
here.
are poor public service announcements for CPR. right? Because I don't know CPR.
Okay, let's look at if you're a
I gotta
CPR
take a
trainer,
class.
if you're a nurse, a physician, something like that, a PA, and you want to get in touch with Kathy at wordfm.com.
Why? You want to take a CPR class?
I'm just saying maybe they want to correct all the incorrect things we've said over the last 5.
We haven't said anything.
You don't know.
We just said we don't know how to do it. That's basically it.
I was saying you could hurt
It's
somebody.
the Word FM CPR class coming soon to a studio near you.
101.5 WORD.
Coming up on Love Worth Finding.
False doctrine is very, very dangerous. And I want to remind you that Satan is not against religion. He's in favor of it. He uses it. It is his chief tool.
Be sure to join us for more of Adrian Rogers' series Handbook for Survival this month on Love Worth Finding. Tonight at 11 on 101.5 WORD.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You're not required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-786-2300. 800-786-2300. That's 800-786-2300.
Train up a child in the way they should go. Well, you know the rest. It's a calling you take very seriously as a Christian parent. And Trinity Christian School in Forest Hills seeks to honor your commitment by working together with parents to prepare students who are academically sound and spiritually ready to take their place in the world through a classical approach to education that helps build a faith from which they will never depart. Trinity Christian School, one of the top K-12 schools in Allegheny County at trinitychristian.net.
Our biblical beliefs about marriage, human sexuality, and gender are increasingly countercultural. In fact, our views are often considered offensive and infringing on personal freedom. Sometimes this makes Christians look like the bad guys. How should we respond? Request your copy of the book Being the Bad Guys, available today at truthforlife.org.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
If you can fix the big stuff, you can fix the small stuff. The Mechanical Services Company has fixed HVAC systems large and small for over 100 years. For fair treatment, expert service, and affordable solutions 24/7, 365. Find them online at tmschvac.com.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
This Sunday at 2 o'clock, Heinz Field. No, it's not the Steelers kicking off for a preseason game, but it's way better. Tens of thousands of us will gather at Heinz Field, and we will pray for this city, this region. Matt Geppert is with us. He is the president of Southeast Asia Prayer Center and spearheading Pittsburgh Praise. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
John, so good to be here. Thank you so much for bringing me on the show.
Terrific. We're excited about this event, Matt. I know it's been a long time coming. For people who've never heard about Pittsburgh Praise, tell us what it's going to be like.
Well, Kathy, thank you. A long time coming, that's for sure. We had, as you guys know, I'm a Christian missionary, and typically most of my year is spent overseas walking and praying and working amongst the nations. But with COVID, I was stuck here like many other missionaries. And I was praying, asking the Lord, what should we do? And simply the response was, walk and pray, And so we began to walk and pray in our home city of Pittsburgh, across every community, just asking the Lord for help and hope. Certainly during those initial COVID months, we knew that was essential. And we began to hear from various parts of the body of Christ, different denominations, different age groups, this common vision, this hope that one day Heinz Field would be filled with people praying, just coming together to pray. It resonated with our hearts, and I began to ask questions like, well, why not? Well, what is there any plan behind this? And I heard of efforts of very sincere prayer efforts to see this come to pass, and we knew that we were to be a small part of a big thing, and our part was simply to say yes. We'll go after this stadium. We'll give ourselves to draw people together and unite people for this vision, and we'll hope and stand strong in hope that our God will hear our prayers and bless our city at this time.
Wonderful. Matt, to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard here in Western Pennsylvania, in the city of Pittsburgh, a gathering this large. Thousands and thousands of people coming together at one time. I mean, you're expecting a large crowd, are you not?
It's unique. It's very, very humbling to see what God is doing. And he is responding to the prayers of his people. Yes, we are anticipating an enormous crowd on that day. And what's amazing to me are the various cultures, the various streams of the body of Christ, the various denominations just responding. Yes, we're in, let's do this. And yes, to come together at that site this Sunday. Our doors open at 1. The service starts at 2. I've been saying kickoff starts at 2, but I don't know how far the service starts at 2. And as you come in and are a part of this very free, very welcoming gathering, you will look around and truly see the united body of Christ worshiping Jesus, praying together, and celebrating his goodness and his faithfulness.
Fabulous. I mean, it's so super exciting. Okay, so you're saying it's obviously, I mean, you're praying. It's a free event. Is it people just showing up, or do you have to do something ahead of time, Matt?
At this point, just come on out. Just come on out. Everyone come on out. We want the whole city to be there. I'm amazed at people who are driving in from as far as Tampa, Florida, and Phoenix, Arizona, and New York and Ohio. Cool. I'm amazed by busloads that have said they're coming in. And I didn't have the heart to tell them, hey, this is a Pittsburgh thing. Come on in. But, yeah, if you have yet, or you have if you have questions about the event, thoughts about it, please go to Pittsburgh Praise, PRAYS.com, and your questions will be answered there. Also, take time to register. We have thousands and thousands and thousands who have registered. John, Kathy, I'm humbled that I've heard just recently that over 600, the number I heard was 618 different churches and ministries have registered to be there, which is amazing. So, yes, please, if you can, register there. Also, you can find information on, what to bring, what not to bring, concession stand availability. Yes, it's a free event, and if you don't have all the information, if you can't find it there, feel free to contact us at 412-826-9063, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Fabulous.
Parking lots near Heinz Field open at 11 a.m. Doors to Heinz Field open at 1 p.m. The event gets underway at 2 p.m. It's Pittsburgh Praise coming up this Sunday. We're talking to Matt Geppert. Matt, talk about what's your heart for this event? I mean, are you hoping that, I guess I shouldn't tell you what your heart is for this event. What is it?
Kathy, growing up in Pittsburgh, I had heard this statement about our city, and I believe it's more than a statement, a prophetic promise for our city, that one day Pittsburgh would be more famous for God than for steel. And that promise, that prophetic promise was made in the 1950s, and it was in Time magazine. And we have then been following that promise very hard, and I believe that it's here today. I believe that as this body, this church body, comes together humbly to submit to God in prayer, that just as we read in 2 Chronicles 7:14, if we're willing to humble ourselves, pray, repent, turn from our wicked ways, that God is faithful to hear from heaven and heal our land. And coming out of the past 2 years that we've been in, I'm quite certain that as we make this statement in faith, humbly united together, that God will be faithful on his side. He'll bring the blessing, bring the promise, and we will watch this city become a model for other cities. I'm firmly anticipating that and hearing from other cities, hey, we're coming because we want to take this back and do it in places like Charlotte and Phoenix, and and further, that a nation would submit to God in prayer, and that the nations would watch and follow in turn.
Wonderful. Prayer changes things. So what a wonderful blessing for you, for all of us, as thousands and thousands gather this Sunday afternoon. Doors open at 1 o'clock at Heinz Field. The prayer gathering gets underway at 2 o'clock, ends around 4 o'clock. So please join us. Matt Geppert with us, the free event. Just show up. Be part of this. Thousands and thousands. If you've been feeling dislocated, angry, sad, upset, whatever it is, prayer will change things, especially as all of us gather in Jesus' name this Sunday at Heinz Field. What a wonderful, wonderful event to be part of. And we would strongly encourage you to come and gather with us, with all across Western Pennsylvania, as thousands do so at Heinz Field.
As far as particulars go, as I said, parking lots around Heinz Field open at 11 a.m. Please don't forget to look at the clear bag policy, which is being implemented at all NFL stadiums this year. That includes this event at Heinz Field, so we don't want you to show up to the gate with your purse or your backpack or your camera bag or whatever. Be denied entry. They're not going to keep it for you, and you're going to be mad because you're going to have to walk all the way back to your car. So, don't let that get in the way of this terrific day. So, Matt Geppert, really looking forward to Sunday. Thanks to you for coming to give us the details and for calling us to prayer.
John Canty, thank you for plowing this ground for so many years and being so faithful to this city. I am so honored that you'll be there this Sunday and helping us to transition and serving this service from the platform on that day. I'm just so blessed by you both and just so grateful for all that you do, all that you've done, and all that you're committed to here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and beyond.
Thank you for your kindness, Matt. God is good and rightly to be praised. This Sunday, 2 o'clock at Heinz Field. Gates open at 1 o'clock. Come and join us.
Excuse me, why don't you have life insurance yet?
I've got diabetes, and I know the price will be through the roof for the pre-existing condition.
Well, actually, SelectQuote makes it easy to get very affordable life insurance, even if you have a health issue.
I'm listening.
You'll get quotes from some of the country's most trusted carriers. Even with your diabetes, you can get around $250,000 in insurance for as little as $1 a day.
That would be amazing. What's it called again?
SelectQuote. Just call or go to selectquote.com to get your free quote. Get the coverage you need at a price you can afford. Call 1-800-694-1010 or go to selectquote.com today. That's 1-800-694-1010 or selectquote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Get full details on example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Monthly premiums vary based on health company and other factors. Not available in all states.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
If you can fix the big stuff, you can fix the small stuff. The Mechanical Services Company has fixed HVAC systems large and small for over 100 years. For fair treatment, expert service, and affordable solutions 24/7, 365. Find them online at tmschvac.com.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
I answered the call. Together, we fought for our nation and its people. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will continue to support my country and my community. Then and now, Semper Fidelis remains my promise. Always faithful, always Marine.
We're tied in there at 1 o'clock. That's so beautiful.
I feel like that's him at his best. It is. And he's going to start to sing in a minute.
So this is Louis Armstrong.
Mm-hmm. This day in history, he passed away.
Today.
Mm-hmm. Here he goes. You ready?
Hold me close and hold me fast. The magic spell you cast. This is La Vie en Rose.
I mean, isn't that the best? It's my favorite song by Louis Armstrong. So, this day in history, we lost Louis. Only 69 years old when he passed away. What year do you think that was, John? You have any idea?
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea. Okay, so Louis Armstrong was a star, but he achieved sort of worldwide international stardom with Hello, Dolly, Barbra Streisand. And that film was late 60s. So Louis Armstrong did not live long after that. So I would say Louis Armstrong probably died in the early 70s. 72 maybe or something like that.
71.
Okay.
Very good.
I lived in Queens for a while, and Louis Armstrong's house was about a mile from where I lived.
Is that right?
It's a museum.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
What's it like?
Like a New York City house in Queens. Really modest. I mean, he was an international star. And if you know anything, I mean, he was a star in a lot of circles since the 1920s.
Yeah, right.
So for 50 years. Right. And now one of those guys who was constantly on the road. And what a wild, interesting story. You ever read a biography about Louis Armstrong?
I haven't read a biography. I've, snippets here and there.
I mean, the stories. Yes. The stories. I mean, the marriages. He was married 3 times. The longest was more than 30 years. But he was a waif. I mean, he was an orphan, born in New Orleans. And self-taught, obviously. That voice was a damaged voice, but he made it into something singularly beautiful.
And it is singularly beautiful. It's one of my favorite voices ever.
There's something
and his voice on the trumpet and his voice singing.
Yeah.
Because he's unmistakable in both.
And I think the big thing, for a lot of people, you hear that, and of course there's beauty there, but in his performance, the persona was this joyfulness.
Yeah, the face.
Yeah, right. A lot of people who, you think about race relations and the racism in this country, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, would not have any interest at all in Black America. But when you saw Louis Armstrong on Ed Sullivan or the Steve Allen Show or whatnot, he was one of the few people, Black performers, who was able to, cross over to some degree.
Why do you think that was?
Because I think he was so authentic, and what he presented was so singularly joyful. It was instantly recognizable. It cut through any sort of,
artifice or hostility.
Or any sort of, hate or whatever that is. You just recognized it for the creation of beauty and joy that it was. That's all.
It also was the kind of jazz that was popular as opposed to,
It wasn't Miles Davis.
Exactly, which was the kind of jazz that kind of despised. Like if you as a listener enjoyed what he was playing, he hated you.
in a way.
Right.
And it wasn't complex.
So why are we doing this?
I mean,
right?
the quality of the music
it was
wasn't
accessible but beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was jazz. It was,
I absolutely love Louis Armstrong.
Me too. Yeah, so, okay, this date in history.
Yeah.
1971, you said?
Yeah, we lost Louis.
Interesting. Very cool.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, how to rent everything this summer. Not just your Airbnb, but maybe your way to get there. Maybe the clothes you're going to wear. Maybe you can rent your shoes.
I guess.
I don't want to rent somebody's shoes.
No.
Except if I'm bowling.
And you got to spray them first.
It's gross. What is that spray?
Listen on your smart speaker at wordfm.com, the Word FM app, iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. In your car or at home, too, at 101.5 WORD-FM, Pittsburgh.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Deputy Police Chief Christopher Cavelli of the Lake County Sheriff's Office says a motive for the 4th of July shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, remains undetermined.
Investigators have been really tirelessly working since Crimo was taken into custody, trying to determine motive. At this point, there is no definitive motive that he had.
Cavelli speaking to WLS. Robert Crimo is being held without bail. The shooting killed 7 and injured dozens. Meanwhile, police in Richmond, Virginia say they thwarted a planned July 4th mass shooting after receiving a tip that led to arrest and the seizure of multiple guns. Police announced the alleged plot in a news release, but not releasing any additional information. A news conference is planned for today. The Dow is ahead 137 points, the NASDAQ up 77. This is SRN News.
My dad is one of my favorite people of all time. Sometimes my eyes feel rolly when he's giving advice, but I've learned more from Dad than anyone, like how saving a few pennies here and there can often be a big deal down the road. One of my favorite dad lessons was, if you're staying at a hotel and you can't see your car from your window, you probably paid too much. It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage, and the mountaintop of my job is when we get to save good people, like Word FM listeners, some life-changing pennies. It's why we're so proud to have our direct lender advantage. Our team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender. Our company uses its own money within its own walls, and there's no middleman. For you, this often allows us to get you a better rate, saving you monthly and lifelong money on new home purchases or refinances. If you'd like to chat, you could find me and Dad at UnitedFaithMortgage.com.
We pay $1,000 of your closing costs on new home purchases.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. NMLS number 1330. Department of Banking. Mortgage Lender License number 22672.
The word around town is that Pittsburgh homeowners are choosing doing it right when it comes to their roofing, siding, and remodeling projects.
That's because since 1984, Doing It Right roofing, siding, remodeling continues to set the bar through clear communication and an installation that's second to none.
Doing It Right employs only the most experienced professionals to install and oversee your project.
They'll stop at nothing to ensure your satisfaction, doing business honestly, taking no money down and no payment until the job is complete.
Doing It Right will ensure that all work is installed to the industry's highest standards. Then back it all up with their lifetime workmanship warranty.
As a prestigious multi-award-winning Owens Corning Platinum contractor, as well as a VSI certified installation contractor, you can't go wrong with Doing It Right.
Mention John and Kathy for a discount off your estimate.
Call 724-NEW-ROOF for a free project evaluation or visit roofingcontractorpittsburgh.com.
Want it done right, call doing it right.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. Now, Mike didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Now, Mike has done it again by introducing his My Slippers. For a limited time, you'll save $90 on a pair of My Slippers. And now this blowout sale of the year will not last, so order now. Mike has taken over 2 years to develop these slippers. My Slippers are designed to wear indoors and out all day long, so they're super comfy. Made with MyPillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue for your feet. Made also with quality leather suede. These are MyPillow slippers at their best. Call 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD or go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener square. Use promo code WORD. Now, the offer is not going to last long, so order now with promo code WORD at MyPillow.com. 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD.
Cloudy and humid for tonight. We'll see a nighttime low of 67. For tomorrow, expect more clouds than sunshine. It will be humid with a thunderstorm in a couple of spots. We'll reach a high tomorrow of 86. Cloudy and humid tomorrow night with a thunderstorm. We'll see a low of 66. As we round out the week Friday, we'll see cloudy skies. It will be humid. Expect a high of 77. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem-Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Greetings. Good afternoon to you. Kathy, you've rented a car, of course.
I have rented a car.
Have you rented in like any larger items?
I've rented trucks.
A house?
I've rented a house. I've rented bolt cutters most recently. Of course you have,
yeah.
Different tools other than a bolt cutter.
Sanders or whatever.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I've rented those. I've rented picnic tents.
Oh, of course, yes.
For my daughter's graduation, right? After COVID canceled it twice. Well, tables and chairs.
Okay, yeah. So, but never like a boat or a swimming pool.
See, I grew up, my dad owned a boat, and so I've never rented a boat.
I've never rented a boat.
But I would love to rent it. I would rent a boat. It's a lot easier than owning one.
Oh, and you're walking away.
Right now.
Yeah. So I saw this piece about how to rent everything this summer. This is in the Washington Post. Lee Gingero is the author here. Now, here's what they're saying. If you talk to any millennial who's traveling, you will hear them refer to, quote, the Airbnb of something, right? So for every need once dominated by a corporate name, there are now sharing branded apps hawking rental cars, camping sites, RVs, swimming pools, and more.
Wait. So you wouldn't have to go to a classic rental car place to rent a car? You could just, I could rent your car?
Well, I'm not sure, but how about a boat?
Okay, I would like to do that. I was just thinking about that yesterday.
So, yeah, me too. Wouldn't it be nice to rent like a houseboat?
Yeah, I was just thinking I would like to rent.
Go to a lake.
Yeah.
And, spend some time.
Right.
You can do this not far from Pittsburgh, as a matter of fact. So the article is saying after 2 dark summers, the person says, I resolved to do this. So there's something called Get My Boat. Get My Boat, I discovered that I can enjoy the open water without owning my own vessel. The website's a platform to rent nearly every type of watercraft, from power boats to jet skis to sailboats to luxury yachts. You can filter by location, date, price, type of boat, and group size. There's also an option to book a captain with user-sourced ratings for charters, just like Uber.
Okay.
Now you go to a local lake, right?
Sure.
And it would be nice to have a boat for a couple of days.
What about if you boated on the rivers?
I think that's a little different.
It is different.
I don't think I'd want to do that. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to know what you're doing to boat anywhere.
Right.
One of the biggest problems with boating is that so many people boat and don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It is more of a problem, though. You're right, on the river.
On the rivers?
That's actually in a very small area. And
That's right for catastrophe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go next to the barge and see how close, that. Also a place called Boat Setter. It's another boat sharing platform, and also Click and Boat. So,
okay. That'd be nice.
To rent a car, the human element, they say, of the sharing economy brings hazards and joys. You can rent cars. What is their place they're going to? Well, they're using all the big names.
Okay, so they're doing the Hertz Avis.
Yeah. What about the shortage of car rentals? Has that been a thing?
Well, I haven't gone anywhere, so I don't know that. But I know that I had a friend who was renting a car so that her extended family could drive together to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very disturbed when she realized that you still have to be 25.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
to
pretty
rent
standard.
a car. It is standard. But when you don't rent a car, you don't think of
surprised
that.
by it.
And so she was thinking that her kids could help drive.
Nope. No, you sign up and that's it.
Yeah,
There's one
so
driver.
Hilton Head seemed like it was a long way away when she realized that her kids couldn't help drive.
Wouldn't it be, though?
Mm-hmm.
How about renting an RV? We were at Yellowstone May of last year, and the roads were clogged with those, Discover America, they
Right.
said on the side, to rent an RV. Again, be nice to rent an RV as opposed
to buying one?
Right. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what it costs to fill up an RV?
And can you imagine what it would be like? I mean, I was saying the problem with boating is that it's surrounded by people that don't know what they're doing. Do you have to pass a test or something
No,
to
I don't
drive
think so.
that?
I can't imagine.
Well, that's not right.
It's just America. Get on the road.
So you
figure it out.
Do you like the idea of that?
Of renting an RV?
Yeah.
Oh, very much so.
Okay. So I do too. However, looking at what the RV parks look like as far as when you get to your destination, that is sad.
Yeah. No, the idea is fun to be on the open road, but to be in the RV park.
But you're going to pull into a parking lot.
Yeah.
And
how about renting a camping or parking spot? What? Two Wandering Souls is a website. They have their own vehicle, but they often need parking spots, like we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So municipalities or Walmarts crack down on campers and vans squatting in local lots. It's become more difficult to find safe, legal parking. So Two Wandering Souls, you go onto their site, and they have something called Harvest Hosts. It's a member-only site for RV owners that offers overnight camping at wineries, breweries, farms, golf courses, and
See, now
other
that would be nicer.
unexpected venues.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I would do that.
Okay.
Rent a pool. Pool sharing. It's a site called Swimply. SWIMPLY. Swimply lets you book a local private place to take a dip in by the hour. The site is also
You're
great
renting
for pool
a pool
parties.
by an hour?
Yep. Mhm.
By the hour, I mean?
Yep. The pool will list the maximum number of guests allowed. You can scroll to the bottom of the listing.
But is this like somebody's backyard pool?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For
I
example,
don't think I want to do
a
that.
pool may allow up to 8 guests, but charging $5 per additional person per hour after 5 guests. Well, you going to? I don't know.
What? So I'm gonna you're gonna rent out your pool, and I'm just gonna come over, and you and your wife are sitting in the living room, and I'm
maybe.
jumping in your pool. That's weird.
When we were kids, we used to in the middle of the night go into the neighbors' pools.
No, you didn't.
Sure, we did.
Without asking them?
It was 3 a.m. You'd sleep out. You do a little sleep out, and people would go, I know that, somebody 3 blocks away has got a pool. So you ride your bike down to the person's house and take a little dip.
Can you imagine if you tried to do that today?
No, you get shot.
There'd be police.
No.
You'd probably, there'd be weapons. There'd be.
And
it would show up on Nextdoor in about 30 minutes.
Probably so, yeah. Of course, because there's all those, cameras and whatnot. Yeah. I don't know. So you can rent things that are weird and unusual.
Speaking of weird and unusual.
Yeah.
We had such a weird and unusual time on our Word FM cruise last year because it was unbelievably pouring down rain.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And then as soon as we took off, it was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was the most beautiful evening on
river
the
is
Three
steaming
Rivers.
for a while.
It was. And then it got this beautiful golden color. I mean, We had such a wonderful time. That cruise sold out last year. And so this year we've got ourselves a bigger boat.
Mm-hmm.
So please come. John and I are hosting the Word FM cruise coming up August 16th. You can get your tickets right now at wordfm.com. It includes what was a delicious buffet dinner
A really
last
good
year.
meal. Now, weren't you I was a little like, what's the meal going to be like?
Exactly.
It was a really,
I was
really good.
pleased.
Oh,
I was pleased.
And I went back for seconds.
Believe me, I remember.
Felt good about it. Yeah.
It was good.
The food was that good.
And we had a ton of time to talk to listeners. We were on all 3 different levels. We're looking forward to even more fun with even more people this year.
Yeah, really, really nice fun. I mean, it's a big boat, so this is our renting a boat.
Yeah, that's right.
We're renting a boat, and at the end of the evening, we hand the keys back to the captain and say, "Good meal, very fun."
And could you clean up?
But you know what? If you're not on the rivers, it's funny. When you get on the river, the beauty is outstanding.
It's a wonderful city.
Fabulous.
If you've forgotten, if you're sick of it, if you get out on the boat and spend an evening out there, you're going to remember.
Yeah. I mean, you and your date, come and join us. I think kids are welcome as well.
Kids are welcome.
Yeah. Was it $40, $45 per person?
WordFM.com. Get your tickets now.
Very nice. Okay, we come back. We're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk with Tom Soroka. He's going to talk to us about pandemonium. Right? There's something about pandemonium. It's in the words. Break it down. Take a look at it. It's next.
101.5 WORD.
Does our life on Earth have significance, or are we simply stuck in a meaningless, perpetual cycle from birth to death? Find out what the Bible has to say when you join us for a fast-paced study of the book of Ecclesiastes this week on Truth for Life with Alistair Begg.
Tomorrow morning at 6 on 101.5 WORD.
Before Bamboo HR, I feel like crying just thinking about it.
We were still handling everything via paper, and we literally had paper stacked.
It was all in spreadsheets and like folders.
From the moment I started using it, I felt calmer.
As soon as we started using the Bamboo onboarding checklist, I mean, it was extremely easy.
Headcount, turnover, years of service. There's just so many different reports that I use at different points in time.
I'm totally set free to focus on the people, to focus on development, to focus on team dynamics.
It's freeing me up to do more of the stuff that actually matters in HR, which is interacting with people, learning from them, and then building stuff for them.
Everything is in this one place. I can't even imagine what it would be like without Bamboo HR.
We're Bamboo HR, and we'd love to set you free to do great work. Come try our award-winning all-in-one HR software for free with no strings attached. Visit bamboohr.com/HR for this free trial offer. That's bamboohr.com/HR.
It's Trinity Jewelers' 6th annual half off, half the store sale. It only happens once a year. Come to Trinity Jewelers this Thursday through July 12th and get half off, half the store. 50% of all their jewelry will be going for 50% off. Select items up to 70% off. So shop early for the best selection. Trinity Jewelers half off, half the store sale at Trinity Jewelers, Mount Nebo Road. Celebrating 22 years at their schoolhouse location. Ends July 12th. Visit TrinityJewelers.com.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
If you can fix the big stuff, you can fix the small stuff. The Mechanical Services Company has fixed HVAC systems large and small for over 100 years. For fair treatment, expert service, and affordable solutions 24/7, 365. Find them online at tmschvac.com.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
I love seeing the transformation of a smile.
There's a reason patients love Dr. Megan Stock, voted Pittsburgh Trib's best of the best dentist in Northern Allegheny County for the 2nd year in a row.
You don't have to do full mouth rehabilitation to really transform a patient's life, for a patient to be able to smile confidently and be happy with their own smile.
Exceptional dentistry meets compassionate care. Stock Family Dentistry, Perry Highway in Wexford, at stockfamilydentistry.com.
We live in an age of pandemonium, right? It just feels like every day, more and more and more and more. And I know the world's been like this for a long time, but it feels especially. We have turned up the temperature in pandemonium in our own lives and across the country and the world. Pandemonium. The world seems to be on fire. Tom Soroka is back with us. Father Tom is the pastor of St. Nicholas Orthodox Church in McKees Rocks, here to talk to us about Pandemonium to Peace, the spiritual war for our hearts and minds. Tom, welcome back. Good to see you.
Hi, guys. How are you? I apologize. I'm having a little bug. I caught some kind of a bug, and I'm losing my voice, so...
You sound fine.
Bear with me.
Okay. No, really, you do sound fine.
Interesting, though. Tom, what you've chosen to talk about today. Tell us.
So it does seem like the world is spinning out of control. Everyone is talking about it. I met with a man. We're purchasing a new sign for our church, and I met with the man today, and we just generally started to talk about the world and how things are, and he was talking about his children. And it seems like everyone is feeling a kind of turmoil in their life. And there are so many causes of this. I think the news contributes to it. We've never lived within a 24-hour news cycle. I think this is the first or second generation that we've had this. There's social media. There is the polarization of people on practically every subject these days. There is also the disintegration of information. So people are taking sides on social media, creating their own channels. And this really is tearing the fabric of the human family to the point where chaos is reigning, so that when one person has a disagreement about something else, this word pandemonium comes to mind. It's fascinating word. The word pandemonium was actually created by the English poet John Milton in the 16th century. And basically, or the 17th century, excuse me. And he wrote a grand poem called Paradise Lost. And he created a description of where the demons are, where all the demons are. So pan, all in Greek, daemon, which is for demons. So where all the demons gather is called pandemonium in his epic poem of Paradise Lost.
I never knew that.
It has come to mean for us chaos. So when we think of chaos, what we are really experiencing, and I believe this 100%, is we are experiencing the world as the demons want it. And that is full of turmoil, full of disunity, which is completely the opposite of what Christ promises us. The word peace appears in the Bible 329 times, especially in the book of Isaiah. It's fascinating. But of course, Christ himself also promises us peace.
Pandemonium. Now, Tom, I'm sure if someone's in their car right now and they're, pushing the buttons on the radio and they come across this conversation and they hear you talking about the truth and reality of demons in this world, there would be a lot of laughter from people, right? I mean, we live in this country where, we love to stream, the darkness of movies and whatnot, but the reality of demons on this earth right now, for a lot of people, that's a fairy tale.
Sadly, it is. And I think it's probably the greatest scam in history. The greatest achievement, if you will, of the devil is to have people believe that he doesn't exist. This is really a tremendous achievement on his part for his goals. And so when we don't believe that demons exist, when we don't believe that we are, especially as Christians, by the way, and we can talk a little bit about this, this whole idea of temptation, which our Lord himself experienced and entered into, but was victorious over through prayer and fasting, that the demons are simply there to kind of push us away from God, to push us even away from each other. And the demons thrive on chaos, on disunity. We even hear about the name of Diabolos, right? Which is another name for the devil. This means the divider, the divider. So anything that causes chaos, disunity, this is absolutely from the devil. And my goodness, we only need to look at the headlines, almost once a week now, where there are mass shootings, where there are young men, especially, it seems, are killing people for no apparent reason or because they are angry at the world. We can call this mental illness, which it certainly is, but at the root of mental illness, often that especially is left untreated, this is an opportunity for the demons to rejoice and to celebrate. You know, by the way, think of the demons in the Gadarene demoniac, right? There's a beautiful word picture there in Mark chapter 5, because in the story itself, we have this Gadarene demoniac who's chained and he's out in the desert and he's screaming, and everybody's trying to stay away from him. And then after Jesus heals him of these demons, and as Christians we have to believe in demons, there's no way to get around this. We can't demythologize or demystify demons. It says that he was in his right mind and sat at Jesus's feet. It's the most beautiful example of pandemonium to peace. Now, this is a miraculous healing, but I think for those of us that are Christians, that have put our trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, I would say that there are some things we have to remember. Number one, because God promises us peace, we should never contribute to the pandemonium. And unfortunately, there are too many Christians, and I speak of myself first, that maybe online or in our interpersonal relationships contribute to the drama, contribute to the chaos and the turmoil and the pandemonium, which is not indicative of the Spirit of Christ. It's indicative of the spirit of this world. And we're called to be in the world, but not of the world. And this is extremely important for us to remember. We are never promised by the Lord, and I am happy to have that discussion with anyone. We are never promised a peaceful life, or I should say an absence of a world full of chaos. What we are promised instead is the ability through prayer, through fasting, through almsgiving, through reading the word of the Lord, through being united to Christ. We are promised to live peacefully within the midst of chaos. To live in a way which we can be surrounded somehow by chaos, but still remember the words of our Lord, who when he sends the Holy Spirit, he says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives to you. Do not let your heart be troubled. Do not be afraid."
So, Tom,
how we have to live.
Within that, yes, that's what I'm asking. So the prescription then is to be people that are in Christ and to be people of peace and to resist the devil so that the devil will flee. Then what is the application? You're saying, I see prayer and fasting as the prescription for all this, to recognize the demons that are around us and then to put up the barriers so that they stay away from us, our families, our own selves, but then the general application of the world. I mean, exorcism, of course, is the most extreme when you see someone possessed by the devil. But what about for us just daily, in our daily prayer life, our daily holy life, to resist the devil, to make the devil flee from us?
I think you hit it on the head, John. This we do have to resist this, and we have to see it as something very real. But I think there is the ability, with God's help, for us to resist it. In other words, we need to see where our triggers are. What really sucks me in to getting into the chaos, right? If it's Twitter, stay off, right? Or really monitor your progress, or notice when I am feeling like, oh, I need to correct this person on Twitter because they're wrong, right? Or I need to tell this person that is pro-choice, I need to tell them off and tell them how they're, killing babies and so forth. All of these things are true, but we need to engender in us a way of dealing with the chaos of the world in a peaceful way. And we can only do that by, in my opinion, and in the Christian tradition, to instill in our hearts that this begins not simply with sort of eschewing opportunities for chaos. It begins inside of me. If I don't have peace inside of me, I can never give that gift to someone else. And it's not simply about, at this point, forgive me, accepting Christ as our Savior. It starts there, but it also continues every day with bringing the Lord's Spirit into me and understanding that I need to cooperate with that grace in order to gain a spirit of peace within me and then give that peace to other people.
That's Father Tom Soroka, pastor of St. Nicholas Orthodox Church in McKees Rocks. Tom, tell us about your church.
We are located right off the McKees Rocks Bridge, 320 Munson Avenue. Right now, we are doing our Vacation Bible School. We call it Vacation Church School this week. So we have over 30 kids that are having a wonderful time learning about Jesus as the light of the world. And so they're doing all kinds of activities, and we have Divine Liturgy, our main Sunday service, every Sunday at 10 a.m. We'd love for you to join us sometime. Even if you've never been to an Orthodox church, you can learn more about our church at orthodoxpittsburgh.org.
Very nice. Tom, always a pleasure. Thanks so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful reminder to give us the tools to resist, to fight pandemonium in our own lives first.
Don't
and in the
contribute
greater
to
world.
it.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Despite what the world will tell you, all of us, we living and breathing creatures of God, we were all made with a purpose. Now, you know this, if you've been to college, how pivotal those years were for you.
To establish who we turned out to be.
Yes. So I would think that someone who is a believer in Jesus Christ, you want to go to a university that points you in the direction to your divine purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
And might I say, the place to go is Grove City College.
One of the issues about social media today is it tends to, put us in a place where we're always comparing ourselves to one another, right? We're always looking to be better looking, or we're looking to be smarter or wealthier or have better clothes or a better boyfriend or a better, whatever it is.
Yes.
And our purpose gets completely lost and we become purposeless. And we can fall into anxiety or depression or whatever it is. And we need strong and solid people around us and teachers who can point us in the right direction. I think that's another thing so essential about Grove City is you want to put your child in a community that's going to encourage them to develop their identity in Christ and not in all the comparison that's all around us all the time.
Summer's here. If you're planning ahead, look at Grove City College. GCC.edu, Grove City College.
Windows are us. You tried the rest, now try the best.
When it's time to replace your roof, siding, gutters, and downspouts, entry doors, and of course windows, you can count on Windows R Us, the area's premier exterior replacement company. This is John Steigerwald. With over 50 years experience in the home remodeling industry, Windows R Us offers repair and replacement for all your exterior home projects. Why pay double with some other companies? Windows R Us will always give you the best price on the best in-class products, backed by the best warranties in the industry, all with zero sales pressure. And speaking of zero, right now get zero interest financing for 12 months and no processing fee with prices set to increase on all exterior products. Lock in your quote today. Schedule a free estimate and inspection today at WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com. You've tried the rest, now try the best. WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
Windows R Us. You've tried the rest, now try the best.
Ask Alexa to play the word Pittsburgh to hear us there. We're on your Google speaker too, plus iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. 101.5 WORD-FM, Pittsburgh.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
Cloudy and humid for tonight. We'll see a nighttime low of 67. For tomorrow, expect more clouds than sunshine. It will be humid with a thunderstorm in a couple of spots. We'll reach a high tomorrow of 86. Cloudy and humid tomorrow night with a thunderstorm. We'll see a low of 66. As we round out the week Friday, we'll see cloudy skies. It will be humid. Expect a high of 77. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Does this make sense?
Does what make sense?
Instant foods.
Instant foods?
Cup of soup.
Oatmeal
Powdered milk. Minute rice. Tang?
No. I believe instant foods sort of came from the 1950s, post-World War II America of like...
Look what we can do.
Fast and nutritious and good for you, which it may have been fast, probably not nutritious, really wasn't appetizing for the most part. I really just... Cup of soup? I mean, maybe if you're like, stuck on a boat somewhere... Right?
Which happens often.
I do remember the best cup of coffee I ever had in my life was when I was in the Philippines at 4 a.m. and we woke up wet and weary and someone said, "Would you like a cup of instant coffee?" And I thought...
What, like Sanka?
I don't know what.
Remember Sanka? Can you still buy Sanka?
It was Nescafe.
Ah, right.
It was like a gift from
What was
above.
Sanka? That was the decaf variety.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I bet that was tasty.
2 scoops. No, it doesn't.
Powdered
instant
eggs.
Food. Nope. Well, if you're on a board a ship.
Instant gravy.
If you burnt the original.
Instant pudding.
Well, I mean, I grew up on instant pudding.
So did I.
It wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
No.
Some things are okay. Instant oatmeal isn't too bad.
Yeah.
But any of these, I don't think it makes sense because how much of a rush are you?
Well, in the morning, like your instant oatmeal. I mean, I could see that.
What?
It doesn't
Wait, you
take
say
long.
5?
Maybe.
Come on,
I
look
don't
how
know.
long it takes to cook oatmeal. What? 7 minutes?
I guess.
What? And so you have to do it in one.
Out the door, grab it and go.
No, maybe we should just relax it a little bit and not have to worry about.
I agree.
Tang.
I don't think it makes any sense at all.
Okay, I agree.
All right, does this make sense?
Except Ovaltine, which is awesome.
Confession. Does confession make sense? I mean, do you really want to spill the beans on your deepest, darkest, the sins that are before you?
You mean to God?
I don't know. To God, to another person.
To a priest?
To another person.
I've never confessed
to another person.
To a priest or minister.
Never,
I've never in my whole life, ever, never.
Even to a minister.
I can't even picture doing that.
To sit.
I can't. It's
Really?
so far outside my. I can't.
Comfort zone?
Not. Yes. And
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Having done it, there is a feeling of cleanliness.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
You avail yourself of
Yeah.
the weight I believe confession makes perfect sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
To make it better, have some instant oatmeal while you confess. Top of the mountain.
101.5 WORD.
Dr. Michael Youssef.
We have such a short attention span that we cannot focus on prayer more than a couple of hours, or a couple of days, or maybe a couple of weeks. Listen to me. When you spend time with God and His Word, you will not only know how to pray, but you will pray according to His will.
Make plans to join us this week on Leading the Way.
Tomorrow morning at 6:30 on 101.5 WORD.
I remember getting tacos for a quarter in high school. Today, taking my nieces out for tacos demands a quarter of a paycheck. Buying gas is a gas. Buying Gatorade takes financial aid. Buying clothes has me watching knitting videos, and I thought about cutting my own hair until I saw the price of safety scissors. It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage, and prices are up everywhere, meaning the pressure is up for a lot of us. One thing that we're seeing a lot of listeners do to try to help is a cash-out refinance. Home values have gone through the roof, meaning most of us could cash out that extra value in our homes to use for life. I had a listener last week that was over the moon with her situation. She said she was going to use the extra cash to pay off all of her debt, do something special for her kids, and then just save the rest to fight these crazy price booms. If you're curious what that might look like for you, we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. MLS number 1330. Department of Banking. Mortgage lender license number 22672.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
If you can fix the big stuff, you can fix the small stuff. The Mechanical Services Company has fixed HVAC systems large and small for over 100 years. For fair treatment, expert service, and affordable solutions 24/7, 365. Find them online at tmschvac.com.
The Mechanical Services Company. Trusted, proven, preferred.
A beautiful day here at All About Golf in Butler, where 14-year-old Jimmy and his dad are on the executive 9-hole course.
He's been practicing all year at All About Golf's driving range, featuring Top Tracer technology.
Is that a Ping G425 driver Dad just pulled out of their Ping Hoofer golf bag?
Yes, and Jimmy's set of new hybrids was chosen with the help of All About Golf's Ping certified club fitter at the Pro Shop.
That's up and down for par at All About Golf in Butler. Practice, learn, play at allaboutgolf.com.
What is a warrior? At Portersville Christian School, it's more than a team name. A warrior is taught to serve, to passionately model the love of Christ toward neighbor, community, and world. To learn as they cultivate academic excellence and a lifelong love of learning from kindergarten to senior year. And to lead through Christian character and integrity. Are you a warrior? Discover Portersville Christian School just 15 minutes north of Cranberry, where warriors are made at ourpcs.org.
The mall. Remember, like, the big malls?
Like, what, the Mall of America? That big?
That's still in operation. It still thrives. So, we have family in South Dakota. And for them to go into Minneapolis to the Mall of America was like to go to Paris. They could not believe
that existed.
Yeah. I mean, they love it so much. It's still not, it's still there. But, even a local mall.
Ross Park Mall, South Hills Village.
I remember when Monroeville Mall was being built, and there was a controversy saying this mall, some prophet said, Monroeville Mall is too big, it will fall down on this date. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, yeah. It was a big deal. Of course, it didn't come to pass. Many other things have befallen Monroeville Mall.
So we'll call that a bad prophet.
Right. But there's a story of a man who secretly furnished a hidden room in a mall and lived there for 4 years.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. A mall in Providence, Rhode Island. It was a super mall. And
so a super mall is like bigger than any of the malls we have around here.
Gigantic. One-stop shopping for everything. And when I mean
that sounds like a nightmare.
Imagine. There was a time, though, that we thought that this was a good thing.
Well,
right?
But like a Ross Park style or size mall is manageable.
Yeah.
A super mall, like I don't think I can do that.
But there was
Well,
a
we
time
live in Pittsburgh. We don't like if you lived in Minneapolis. Probably in the winter, you're desperate to
be out and wandering
Right.
around. But, I mean, remember the mall? You're old enough to remember this. Didn't you go to the mall on Friday nights?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a social place.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You weren't really, you shopped.
Well, listen, when I
maybe.
had babies,
Oh, yeah, to get out.
it was huge because there was that playground at Ross Park Mall.
Yeah. And how about, early on, the silver sneakers crowd, before the mall opens, they go and
Right.
walk the mall and
Mhm.
exercise, right?
Mhm.
So the mall can be sort of a catch-all. It can be like a miniature town in a way, a community.
Sure.
Well, there's a story about a guy who saw this mall being built in 1999 in Providence, Rhode Island. And like I said, he was an artist, but he also spent some of his day exercising. And he would run past the mall in 1999 while the mall was being constructed. And what he realized as he was running his sort of daily exercise, he saw a portion of the mall that was close to the river's edge, where there were these two walls that didn't come together, in a proper engineering model. And he wasn't sure about that. So he took it upon himself to enlist some friends, and they built an addition to this structure that didn't sort of come together clearly.
And nobody noticed them doing this.
They did it in the dead of night while the mall itself was being constructed. Somehow, I don't know how, the story goes in deeper. The deeper story's on YouTube if you want to see it, that they created their own entrance to this weird area of the mall. And then when the mall opened up, of course, it was so behemoth that this area, the mall, was a 750 square foot apartment.
Get out.
That this guy, he had his own front door, essentially, to the mall. So he lived there for 4 years in this mall. He had a couch. He smuggled furniture in. He had a PlayStation. I mean, it was his home for 4 years.
At the mall.
Mm-hmm. He was in his, in air quotes, apartment in the mall with a female friend of his when 4 mall cops burst in the front door, seized him, took him outside, and they placed him in a mall vehicle and took him to the proper police.
They put him on the back of their Segway.
So what's a Paul
Blart.
Yeah, mall cop, right? I mean, that's probably like the pinnacle of mall cop lore. It's a true story.
So he was able to get away with that. So basically, he didn't have to pay any rent or mortgage for 4 years.
4 years as an artist in a 750 square foot apartment. And you can find the story. It's on YouTube, like I said. I mean, and I don't know what the condition of the mall in Providence, Rhode Island now is, but in 1999...
Wonder how he was found out.
Well, I do know that...
Maybe it was the female friend.
Eventually, because the technology didn't exist, fully like it did then, eventually...
Oh, they put cameras in.
Yes.
Right.
And so they go, what's that guy doing? What's that door about? So later on, after the guy was busted, 4 years after the fact, he told the full story to, the people who owned the mall, the real estate concern, multi-million-dollar concern, and said, I've been doing this. This is how it happened. This is how it worked. So he did cop out to a reduced sentence.
What's his offense?
Trespassing. I mean, you're living rent-free in someone's space. Wasn't, no electricity, no, heating, nothing, for free. And he was just, from the outside, just another person, at the mall. Can you imagine? It's a pretty cool gig.
It's like Catch Me If You Can, right?
Which one of my kids had never seen it before.
Did you watch it this weekend?
Yeah.
Such a great movie.
Great movie.
Okay, can you believe that anybody had the guts to do that? It reminds me of this guy, right?
Grant
like
Larson.
the number one thing, obviously they're both crime. It's criminal behavior.
Right.
But you have to have a lot of guts to think that you could do that. To think, I'm going to try that. I mean, Catch Me If You Can, he does that 10 different times.
Oh my gosh, does he ever?
10 different ways.
As a kid, when he first started doing it, he was 16 years old. I mean, this guy was, embezzling money, check writing schemes, walking around dressed up as a pilot for Pan American Airways.
That was the shocking one. Isn't that scene terrific?
Oh, my gosh.
It's like a time capsule.
Yeah, he's walking down the street, and that was a time, of course, where, air travel was like, what?
Right.
You're a pilot. So they saw him in his pilot outfit and thought,
He
this
looks
guy's
terrific.
top of the world. Yeah, it's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
But it does. There's a certain, what is it? Moxie, I guess you could call it. Arrogance, right? Lawlessness. I guess, I think that's true, though, because anybody who's a criminal to that extent, you just don't.
Well, you feel like I guess
you're above the law.
Well, no, I guess you would feel like as long as you're confident, most people won't ask.
Yeah, well, that's probably a lot of the truth of life.
It probably is.
I mean, confidence goes a long way in going through the process, right? If you can imagine yourself in the position, you can somehow create the wherewithal to make it work. Don't you think that's true for a lot of people who are successful?
Yeah. Well, every Ponzi scheme is built on that, right? Is built on a guy saying, well, of course I can pull this off.
Yeah.
Of course I can pull this off because mathematically it doesn't work, but we don't have to add up the equation at the same time. This is one equation, that's another one, so it'll be fine.
But can you imagine that?
I mean, Bernie Madoff, how many people, how much money? Like, that was outrageous.
Billions.
So he had that arrogance every single time he did that. And he did that to thousands of people.
But what about the emotional baggage that someone's dragged? We just
Wouldn't
talked
you have
about
a panic
confession.
attack?
Oh, every minute of every day. That's a tragic American story because his family, his son's committed suicide. His other son died early of a heart attack. I mean, he destroyed the family he destroyed what he loved.
And he destroyed countless other families.
Based upon what? Greed? Wanting to have a super yacht?
Or,
Penthouse?
yes, of course, money was part of it, but I've often thought the other part of it is it's the catch me if you can thing. Can I get away with this?
Or his own ego, the prestige of that guy.
Yeah.
He's a magician.
Right.
He made something work that nobody can really fully understand. He's got the Midas touch.
Right. He can make mathematics bow to his whims.
And of course, people saw that, and they threw money at him. Please, you take me as a client, please. Yeah. So whether you're camping out somewhere illegally in a mall, or you're Bernie Madoff and you're head of one of the largest scams in the history of finance, I guess it does come down to hubris, doesn't it?
Earlier in today's program, speaking of hubris, we talked about a news story in today's Washington Post that a father was swimming with his two twin 10-year-old sons along with a friend of theirs, and he was holding his breath underwater, something that he liked to do. It was like a calming habit he engaged in. And of course, he ended up going into cardiac arrest. His 10-year-old sons had to drag him out. They performed CPR on him and blah, blah, saved his life. When we went to a commercial break after that, John, I felt it was important for me to bring this up to our listeners. I said, as the exit music was playing, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Who would ever want to do that? And you said,
well, I do that. I do that when we go, to a pool. That's really common. I'll happily do that in the ocean.
Okay, you are holding your breath and going underwater in the ocean and just sitting, bobbing down there.
I'm surprised. You grew up at a lake.
That's a terrifying idea. That's not normal behavior.
That is 100% normal. You grew up on
Chautauqua
a
Lake. Never a single time did I hold my breath and bob at the bottom of the lake.
Come on.
Never.
I bet you if you got 100 people in a room.
I bet 100 of them would say that's crazy.
No, I don't think so. I think you're wrong about that. I bet you fully more than half would say, yes, I've done that, and yes, it's enjoyable.
So you're not in any way could have any anxiety about doing that in the ocean.
Why? What's the difference between an ocean and a pool?
The ocean.
I don't know. I don't see the.
The tides are dangerous. The waves are big.
I'm not down there for an hour. I'm down there most for as long as I can hold my breath. How long is that? 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
And you're not thinking, well, this is an accident waiting to happen right here.
No, at some point I'm thinking, wonder what's going on up there. You know, it's just.
And your eyes are closed. So anything could happen. So a shark swimming by, some dude is going to kick you in the head.
It's the coolest feeling because you're like totally.
Sea urchins are like around your nothing.
No, you're like totally isolated in the ocean.
Which is the problem. I feel like a fatal accident is just waiting to befall you.
No, I don't get that at all.
Because if you were swimming in the ocean,
that's too sheltered of a life.
Your 3 10-year-olds who were with you wouldn't even notice.
No, they would not. No, because what's cool? The cool thing about it is
this story doesn't cause you to question anything.
No, because when you're in the bottom of the ocean, you know how far down are you? At the 6 feet, 8 feet at the most.
That's
you dive
so
down
creepy.
in there, and there's this churning above you.
Never would I do that.
I don't get that.
The churning above you is what, comforting?
Yes.
That's not scary to you.
No, it's like
You're not even a good swimmer.
It's true. I don't know. I just think there's something beautiful and mysterious about
the most
the
disturbing
ocean.
Conversation we've ever had.
So you would never like scuba dive?
No. Well,
snorkel?
Maybe, but that I've got I can see, I can breathe. I have a breathing apparatus set up. It's different.
Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Imagine tens of thousands of people from all across this city gathering just to pray. That's what's happening for Pittsburgh Praise, Sunday, July 10th. Believers from across Pittsburgh are uniting for a powerful prayer and worship event because we want to see the goodness of God filling our city and believers working together as one. Visit PittsburghPraise.com to register for free. See you at Heinz Field, July 10th at 2 p.m. for Pittsburgh Praise. Doors open at 1 p.m.
You're not who you were 25 years ago. Your life's more complex. People change, families change, and the law changes. This is Jay Hagerman of Abernathy & Hagerman, and a proper estate plan should keep up with those changes. That's why Abernathy & Hagerman presents free ongoing estate planning workshops with attorney Dan Reimer, someone who's really good at making complex concepts sound so simple, so you can protect what's yours and to ensure that your will is done. The next one's happening soon. For details and to attend, visit a-h.law.
Pittsburgh CLO presents Godspell, the beloved musical from the composer of Wicked, Stephen Schwartz. This new production, created just for Pittsburgh, is filled with beloved hits. Bless the Lord, We Beseech Thee, Beautiful City, and Day by Day. Prepare ye for Godspell, a show overflowing with kindness, tolerance, and love. 1 week only, July 12th through the 17th at the Benedum Center. For tickets, visit PittsburghCLO.org.
We are everywhere on your radio at 101.5 WORD FM Pittsburgh, at wordfm.com, the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
Across the country, people are in sheer panic
about
air conditioning. St. Joseph, Missouri, with the extreme heat, air conditioners are not the only thing working hard. It talks about heating and cooling companies are also working overtime to keep up with high demand. Local businesses are receiving spikes in calls for maintenance and installation. But the biggest problem is not that, because that would be every year. But the industry is experiencing shortages on all sorts of and every different part due to supply chain issues, creating high prices and delays delays in some cases.
So your air conditioner breaks, they don't have the part for it.
Right. So this guy, Jason Wolf, is quoted in this article, and he says, it's horrible. I mean, it seems to get worse every day. We're in a fight trying to find different stuff, and the prices are outrageous. Okay, that's St. Joseph, Missouri. Then I saw an article in central North Carolina. They see temperatures regularly in the 90s. People are using their air conditioning all the time. But a lot of companies are just not able to hire enough people to service the equipment. So in this instance, it's not a supply chain issue. It's the fact that we don't have enough people to get out and fix your air conditioning, right? So that's a problem there. Also, I saw a story in Arizona, Valley of the Sun, where air conditioning is a necessity, but AC supply and workforce shortages are leaving residents sweating it out this summer.
Really?
Customers have had to wait 6 weeks or more to get service. Now, waiting 6 weeks or more here, I'm sure would be very inconvenient for people.
In Arizona.
Living in the Valley of the Sun, that would be. And some parts that were on delay or back order are now in the unavailable category.
You'll not see that for a couple more years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so right now it's raining.
Yes.
Now, it's supposed to be hot. The Pirates are in town.
Yes.
I wonder if the game will be delayed, and what would that be like for a steamy summer evening at PNC Park?
It's going to be a big night for Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller takes the mound.
If they play. Think they'll play?
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how it's... Last night you were at the game.
I was.
And?
It was one of the best nights of baseball in my life.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot because I've seen a lot of games. It was absolutely picture perfect. The crowd was amazing. It was this
Quintana pitched like a boss.
Yep, and it was this mix of Yankee fans, and I had a great. I mean, I spent probably an hour hanging out with a Yankee fan, a total stranger, and we had a really good time. We laughed hard.
Crazy.
It was really good. Just a great night.
Pirates are a fun team to watch. Of course, they won last night.
Yeah. But they are a fun team to watch.
They're a super fun team to watch.
Just wish you had better ownership and a brighter future.
Think how great it could be if we had a competitive team all the time.
Yep.
The Ride Home with John and Kathy, a production of Salem Media Group.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Democrats' midterm prospects continue to grow grimmer with every approval rating of Joe Biden. Voters remain focused on inflation, especially at the gas pump, and shortages at the grocery store more than any other issue. That applies especially to abortion, although Democrats have yet to realize it. Leaders of the party